Here I have a laptop charger that's no longer working because the internal circuit got damaged when the wire broke right at the solder joint, leaving it disconnected from the board and unable to supply power. But my soldering iron is in such poor condition that it can barely heat up. It struggles to reach the proper temperature and can't fully melt the solder, making the repair much more difficult and time-consuming. But don't worry. I'm going to share with you a temporary solution. Although it's not very modern, it can really help you out in situations like this. Let's get started. I prepared a syringe. You can use any type of syringe you have on hand, as long as it comes with a needle at the tip. That part is important because it's what will allow us to work precisely for this fix. I'm going to carefully detach the needle from the syringe and put the remaining parts away, since we won't be needing them for this project. Using pliers, I'll gently twist the needle tip to trim off the very end, making it shorter and easier to work with for this repair. If you press it down, the needle tip will get blocked right away. Take it slow and be careful. Next, I'm going to use a lighter to gently heat the area where the needle hub connects to the syringe body. Once the plastic softens, it will be much easier to separate the two parts without damaging the needle itself. Once you're done, you'll have the needle looking like this. Set aside for now, and let's move on to the soldering tip. For the soldering tip, I'm going to use a single core copper wire. After cutting a short piece, carefully strip away the outer insulation to reveal the bare copper core underneath. Make sure to remove only the coating without nicking the wire itself, because this exposed copper will be the part that conducts heat directly and serves as our improvised soldering tip. I need to grind the tip so it becomes sharper, allowing for more precise contact when soldering small components. A soldering tip needs to be sharp because a pointed tip can reach small, precise areas on a circuit board, apply heat exactly where it's needed, and prevent excess solder from spreading to nearby components. Measure the copper wire against the syringe needle and cut it to match the same length, just like this. Next, I have a piece of aluminum wire. Cut a piece of it and clean off the thin copper coating on the outside. exposing the raw aluminum underneath. Now I'm going to secure the syringe needle and the soldering tip together using this aluminum wire. And to complete this improvised soldering tool, I'll be using a lighter. To remove the cap, firmly grip the lighter body with one hand and gently twist or pull the cap upward with the other hand until it comes off, making sure not to damage any of the internal parts. Can you see the small gas outlet hole on the lighter? The tiny opening where the fuel comes out when you press the trigger? Now I'm going to insert the syringe needle into place. When the syringe needle is placed over the lighter's gas outlet, the flame's heat will transfer directly to the metal, which then heats up the copper wire tip we attached earlier. This way, the lighter essentially becomes a small heat source, turning our setup into a functional improvised soldering tool. When I press the gas button, the fuel flows up through the needle, and all it takes is a spark to ignite it. I'll secure the needle in place using super glue. When the flame ignites, it burns steadily at the tip of the needle, transferring heat along the metal and into the copper wire soldering tip. The narrow shape of the needle focuses the flame, making it more efficient for heating small, precise areas during soldering. When I start soldering, I bring the heated copper tip into contact with the solder and the joint on the circuit. The tip quickly melts the solder, allowing it to flow smoothly and form a strong connection. Now that our improvised soldering tool is ready, let's move on to repairing the laptop charger. First, I'll identify the broken wire at the solder joint and prepare the area for reconnection. Once the solder sticks to the tip, it holds firmly, but as soon as you heat the tip again, the solder melts right away. Making it easy to use for the repair. The solder joint is very sturdy and reliable. The molten solder has fully coated the wire and the pad, forming a strong bond that not only ensures good electrical conductivity, but also holds the components firmly in place. Additionally, I'm going to share another method for soldering two wires together using just a lighter. I have two pieces of wire, and I'm going to twist them together. On the twisted joint, I'll carefully wrap some solder around the wires to ensure a solid connection. The solder fills in the gaps between the strands, strengthening the bond and improving electrical conductivity. This way, the two wires stay firmly connected and are less likely to come apart over time. After wrapping the solder, I'll use a lighter to heat it until the solder melts and flows into the joint. As I heat the solder with a lighter, it begins to soften and then gradually melts, flowing smoothly around the twisted wires. The molten solder fills all the gaps, coating each strand evenly and creating a shiny, secure connection. You can see it glisten as it solidifies once removed from the heat, forming a strong, reliable joint. Once it's done, the solder has fully coated the wires, forming a solid and shiny joint. The connection feels firm and secure, and the two wires are now tightly bonded. Ready to carry electricity reliably. The joint is very strong and durable. The solder has fully enveloped the twisted wires, creating a solid bond that resists pulling or bending. Once cooled, it holds the wires firmly in place, ensuring both mechanical stability and reliable electrical conductivity. In summary, a simple lighter can be surprisingly effective for DIY soldering in a pinch. By combining it with a needle and copper wire, or using it directly on twisted wires with solder, you can generate enough focus heat to melt solder and create strong, reliable connections. While it's not a replacement for a professional soldering iron, this method provides a handy temporary solution for quick repairs and small projects.